call by a lot of Nigerians. And, they have been questioning if this coalition will even work in the first place or not. But Nabena is saying whether you form coalition or whether you don't form coalition or you cannot derail the ambition of President Tinubu in 2027. But it's really amazing how people are not even considering the fact that this administration is even yet to be 1 year old in power. But we're already talking about 2027 elections. Is this not troubling for us?
But it's a sign that we're not serious about leadership and governance. We just came out of an election. We have not started the business of governance. And almost every politician and every political leader is talking about 2027. They are obsessed with politics and power because of the financial benefits. So they don't really care about leadership and governance. One would have expected that after the election, you pack politics and then everybody will get into the business of governance. Everybody, including the opposition. So the parties that won the elections in different elections at different levels will provide leadership. And then the opposition parties will form shadow ministries, shadow governments. That is proper opposition. How? By the providing constructive criticism and alternative.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, hello. Are you there? Oh, apologies for that. We'll try as much as possible to reconnect with Larry Oguegu, as was lending his voice to the headline we saw in Leadership that's talking about the statement from Nabena, who have said no opposition coalition or whatever they want to form will derail the president, especially as it goes to the 2027 election. In fact, APC, that was what he meant, being a mega party.
You know that some people they've seen prophecy on this particular situation. So, I mean, it seems to be set in stone already. But anyway, we're trying as much as we can to reach back with Larry Oguego to join us for our conversation. But you have the opportunity to send us a message on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. Send us a message on YouTube, and then also call our studio line 0700 010 961 961. That's also our WhatsApp platform 0700 010 961 961.
I guess you mentioned something that a lot of people are beginning to see things for the APC and of course for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when it comes to 2027 election. In a statement which Nabena signed yesterday, which we cited as well, he alluded to the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, and he said just as former President Muhammadu Buhari completed his 8-year tenure, he went on to say, I am confident that President Bola Tinubu, by the grace of God, will do the same, and not even the emergence of a mega party or merger will hinder this progress. So people are beginning to see things for President Bola Tinubu. The question is, will he want to go for a second term?
That's not even a conversation, Simeon, because almost every politician would want a second term. Almost every politician would want that. I mean, but for Nigerians, the question is, are you doing well in your administration? Did your administration do well to warrant a second term? Right? Because we know that at this point in time, it's difficult to get a particular government out of office, especially if you're not doing well. It's hard to impeach and all that. We know that it's difficult. So let's say you run your full course of the 4 years, but at the end of that term, how did you fare? Does it warrant a second term? Do Nigerians want another 4 years with you at the helm of affairs? At this point in time, I think politicians, they should focus on how well they are doing, because Nigeria and politics has moved beyond, the world has moved beyond playing politics for politics' sake. The world has moved beyond that. The world is looking for, if you check across African countries, they're looking for leaders who can actually deliver. That's why we saw a lot of the issues that we've seen in the African continent in the past few months. A lot of Nigerians, a lot of Africans are looking for leaders who can actually lead the country out of the quagmire that they're in into better waters, or into still waters at this point in time. Anyway, we've got Larry Oguego back on the line.
Mr. Larry, welcome. Good morning. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, I was trying to say that Politics and power should be for the purpose of governance, for delivering a good life to the people. But in Nigeria, politics and power is basically about the ego and the interests of the political elites. And that is why once they finish one cycle, they begin to plan for the next cycle without providing both governance and leadership. And that is sad. And this is a lesson for the electorate and for the civil society. We need to actually check who is doing what. I mean, whether you are in opposition, whether you won the election or lost the election, we need to actually observe the politicians who come back only for power. I have friends who contest for positions in politics, and I've always advised them, you cannot be a professional contestant. So you come into the public space only when the election is imminent, and then you fade away and disappear when you lose the election.
Mr. Larry, if you want to call names, please call names. One aspirant just came back from Dubai for the party's neck. So if you want to call names, please call names with your full chest.
I'm not afraid of calling names. I just actually used an example of my personal friends because I advise them. That is, I advise my friends, everybody I know. For me, one of the litmus tests I use when I'm discussing politics and politicians is I ask questions like, what have you done for your people before now? And a lot of contestants and political gladiators come to meet me for endorsement of some kind of political support in my public outings. And I ask them a simple question. And that's the question I ask every single politician, whether they're contesting for House of Representatives, House of Assembly, or governor, whatever. I ask the same simple question. If you're going to spend 500 million naira or 2 billion naira, depending on what position you're contesting for, to become a leader, why do you want to do that? The answer is always the same. I want to improve the lot of my people. Then I ask the next very important question to me personally. If you are willing to gamble with 2 billion so that you get into a position to improve the lives of the people, have you actually invested any reasonable amount in improving their lives before now? Because that is evidence I personally have that you are passionate and interested in empowering your people. I mean, if you are going to use 500 million to place billboards, use this million to settle, use this one to buy palliatives or recharge cards or gifts or whatever, and you have not been able to sit down to bless your people before now, how do I know that you're not doing business? I mean, if you're willing to waste 2 billion and you have not been able to invest 500 million, then something is manifestly wrong. So I don't like absentee leaders who run away after they lose elections only to come back when the next cycle comes. I have a friend who lost the last election time. He traveled abroad with his family, and I'm sure he's likely to come back to contest again. Personally, I don't take such persons seriously because I can assume that the person doesn't mean well, no matter what the person says. Because if you want to be a blessing to the people, you should subconsciously be looking for how to bless them, whether you're in power or out of power. If you have that much resources, you can be a blessing. You don't need money to be a blessing. I've been a blessing to the people around me everywhere I go, just by giving sound advice, by mentoring young people, by doing your bit. You can be a blessing. But a situation where you wait for the next election, that is immediately after elections, we are not 1 year in this administration, people are spending so much energy on 2027. I'm embarrassed. I mean, the world is watching us. I'm really embarrassed.
Okay.
Even if they are going to talk about coalitions, they should do it quietly. This is not the time to make noise about coalitions. This is the time to focus on governance, to critique government decisions, to provide alternative solutions, and even to contribute to the process of reducing hunger and unemployment in the land. This is not the time to be jostling for 2027 that is not even here.
Okay. With what you said, even though you said you were alluding to your friend